Hey everybody, I'm Artman Oil, the professional pix artist for the games Spent Shells by Helper Wesley and Cyberstrike by Hogiles. So, you might be wondering, hey, Oil, where have you been? Why haven't you posted in 4 months or something? Well, as you can see, I have a 2D guy here. Bam, it's 3D now. That's incredible.
Oh my god!
Pretty much though, what I'm going to be talking about is, how to draw anything. So relax and get ready for the video. Thank you. So, number one thing, forms. What is a form? What dictates what a form is and how it works? Well, every single thing in real life can be made up of form. So forms can be broken down into multiple shapes. Let's open up Blender, for example. Even though we're doing a Pixelart tutorial, Blender is wonderful for getting 3D references for basic shapes. So let's press Shift A here and you can see that it opens up a drop-down menu of something called primitive forms. Primitive forms are these shapes that you see here. They're squares, circles, rectangles, whatever. These shapes can be pretty much found in anything. So let's model a small pencil really quick. You can see in this pencil, I have it broken down into a few basic shapes. These are known as our forms. Our primary forms are the things like the cone and the 2 cylinders that I have here. And the secondary forms are the extra cylinders I have on the bottom. Realistically though, you can do this with pretty much any type of object that you find in the real world. By breaking everything down in real life down into forms, it helps to make it easier to draw. So let's say that you want to draw a thermos, then you're going to break down all the forms into its basic components. One of the biggest problems that newer pixel artists have is breaking down everything from 2D shapes into 3D shapes. Because no matter what you're doing when you're drawing, you're going to be turning the thing that you have into a shape. But a lot of people have trouble breaking down the drawings into 3D objects. Instead, view the 2D object as a pattern that looks vaguely like it. But by breaking it down to 3D parts and drawing in 3D, it helps to add more realism to it and helps to give it a more natural look in general. So as you can see here, I'm going to keep on animating this too. Even when I'm animating in Pixelart, I like to break everything down to its basic forms and then animate those basic forms that I have drawn out. Then I can draw over it to further refine it after drawing out the basic form. Now, on to the next part of the video, we're going to be talking about colors and value structure. So whenever you're drawing a color, you want to remember that colors come in many shapes and sizes. They come in different variations. But as you can see in some of the drawings I've made, I use a lot of unorthodox colors together and they somehow work. That's because every color has something called a value. Values are what colors look like in monochromatic or black and white for people that don't know what that word means. And you can use that to help see what colors will look like by each other. As you can see in some of my older art and some newer artists' art, you can see that they have a lot of color problems where it looks muddy. It looks hard to tell what it is using to shade. That's because their value structure is too similar. But you can do that value structure thing I just said by figuring out what your colors are going to be in black and white, and you can help to order them and make them look better in order. So you can see that I'm going to simplify it into 5 different values from a 20 color palette, and you can see it has more contrast. Well, by adding all that contrast, it can help to make your art piece look significantly more comprehensible. Like, look at this little guy, look at him go. You can see that all of his colors though are very, very different, and by filling in all the values using a paint bucket tool or something with the contiguous option off, you can replace these grayscale values with colors. Now, keep in mind though, that since every color has value, you can mix and match. This leads to something called hue shifting. Hue shifting is how people can shade reds with purples, or reds with yellows, or oranges with greens, everything. You can see in this concept art I did for Cyber Strike, I like to shade my oranges with greens to help add a better effect to it. Or you can use that to get better schemes though along all of your art, and also help to give it a more personal feel. Hue shifting also allows your colors to look more natural, because when you just lower the color value, then it starts to look gross and muddy. So always make sure that when you're shading, hue shift your colors if optional. Now let's combine them into normal shading. So for this example, we're going to be making a Pokeball. So let's sit back and watch the time lapse first. Alright, so you can see along the top I have the red shaded with a purple. Now let's turn that into a black and white color value. You can see that the red and the purple are very, very different in value, and the value structure of the whole art piece is very, very defined and high contrast to help add readability. The higher contrast leads to having just a better in general feel to it. And by hue shifting all of my shadows, it helps to add that extra lifelike feel to it. Now keep in mind, even though I have been doing Pixelart for a while, it still isn't the best. I have a lot to learn, but hopefully this tutorial at least helped cover the basics of how to draw anything. If you have any ideas for later comments, leave it down in the comments below and I'll try to get to you. Also, if this helped at all, please like and subscribe, as it helps out greatly and would help me to keep on making more tutorials for you all. I am planning on trying to make them once or twice every few months, so stay tuned and I might release new ones. They take a very long time to make, as you can see, because I have to animate and write everything out and everything, but hopefully all of you enjoyed it and have a wonderful day or wonderful night.